Well, Australia's richest person, Gina Rinehart, has called for our defence spending to massively increase to 5% of GDP. She made the push at a sunset vigil last night for ANZAC Day and comes a day after the coalition unveiled a plan to take defence spending to 2.5% of GDP by 2030 and then 3% in the years later. Labor's defence spending plan is to rise to 2.3% by 2034. For more, I'm joined by Education Minister Jason Clare and Deputy Liberal Leader Sussan Lee. Good morning to both of you. Jason, so Gina says we urgently need to do more to defend Australians. How big of an ask, Jason, is 5% of GDP?
Well, morning, Nat. Well, the investments that we make in our Defence Force and in the defence of Australia are very, very important. But I don't want to get into the politics of that today. You know, ANZAC Day is a sacred day for Australians. It's a day where we remember and commemorate the service and the sacrifice of our grandparents and great-grandparents who defended our country. I think the last thing that Australians want to see this morning is Sussan and myself going tit for tat talking about this or getting involved in some sort of political fight. I think that would be really disrespectful.
No, we don't have to fight, but it is interesting. One of the things she said, that we should be boosting defence manufacturing here in Australia, and she has a lot more to say on that. Just what are your views on that, Jason?
Well, we do that. It's a fact that we have a lot of Australian companies that are an integral part of the manufacture of defence equipment for Australians that help to keep Australia safe. That's a fact, and we want to make sure that there are more Australian companies that are part of that. But again, it's ANZAC Day, Nat. You know, we can talk about this tomorrow, but today is about remembering the Australians who served this country at a time of peril. It's not about having a political brawl.
Yeah, Sussan, let's get your view, because of course we are remembering the Australians who've lost their lives and all who serve and thanking them today. But this is important because our defence, the ADF, has a massive shortage of people. They want more people. We, are talking about more investment in the ADF. What are your views on spending even more than the coalition is forecasting?
Nat, we agree with the Prime Minister that we live in the most complex geostrategic circumstances since World War II. But respectfully, it's not enough to state that without taking action. And our plan to increase defence spending to 3% in the next decade, and people will have heard our announcement a couple of days ago, $21 billion over the next 5 years. And we want to see that do things around recruitment, cadets, reserve infrastructure. It is so important to protect and keep our country safe. And can I say, I was at the event last night, co-hosted by Channel 7 at the Sydney Opera House. What a moving tribute, really, really well done to all involved, and it was very special indeed to be there.
Okay, look, we thank you both very much for your time on this ANZAC Day. And 7 will bring you Anthony Albanese and Peter Dutton's final showdown before Australia decides, with the debate live this Sunday at 8 p.m. That's on 7 and 7 Plus. Here's Sherbo.